Alright, so I want to talk about the Aldi Workzone Meister made 16-piece combination spanner set, and you can zoom in, see the sizes there. From 6 to 22, you can see the size range: 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22. Okay, so we've just seen the size range there. It's quite a comprehensive set, from 6 to 22. It comes with the wall holder, obviously, which is a good bonus, because I personally bought these. I bought 2 of these as a secondary or a spare set, or basically as a quick grab set, so I can just grab up the set if I'm in the garage or something. I want to do some work on a vehicle, something like that, and I don't have to go all the way and get my my other set out of here all the while. Also, for the price, they were only $7.99. Now I know a lot of people will see that price range and they will scream, but obviously at that price range I could just pick up 2, look like I did do, one for the garage and one for my workshop. So I've got a quick grab set on the wall in here as well. I don't have to keep going into the toolbox every 5 minutes. Now they are made by a company called Meister, a German company, and anybody that knows, the German tools are usually quite good tools. Working in engineering, that we used to know that the German stuff was actually going to work. In other words, it was going to do what it said on the tin 9 times out of 10. Now these are tested for German VPA certificate, so it's tested and certified in Germany with their VPA certifications. And it's not just that, they also, if we take one of these out, take this 15 out, where are we? You can see the Meister on the back. They also meet the British standards for the, I think is it the ISO 3113. So they've also meet those British standards as well, which is, these is another set that I bought around 2001. They cost me about 70 odd pounds. The finish actually looks very similar. Note that where are we on here? The DIN the DIN 3113 standards that these spanners met. Now I'm an engineer, I'm not a mechanic, so they were used mainly for things in the engineering field. But they were an expensive set. They were a fairly decent set, obviously, because they met those standards. Now these Aldi's ones for only $7.99, a tenth of the price. A few, over a decade later, still match those same standards, the DIN 3113, as well as the German VPA ones that they've tested. So the German company Meister Chrome Vanadium. I'm not sure what the HR stands for. Now these are they do have the Aldi Workzone logo on the one side. It's not really much of a problem. I don't know, if you're a mechanic, you might think want to hide. I don't know what your snobbery's like in your mechanic workshop, but you know, they are obviously made by Meister. Now, probably don't know too much about Meister, but looking on the internet, their spanners, some of their spanners sell for around the £30 mark, like this. So you've basically got £30 odd spanners for the price of about £7.99. A lot of the Meister or Meister pliers, things like that on there that I've found generally cost around £25 to £30. You know, so kind of a lot of the pliers are kind of like the Knipex or Knipex, as I heard a German say. I don't know. You know, maybe I've been pronouncing that one wrong for a while as well, but I pronounce it obviously with the silent K, Knipex. But those kind of price ranges for the pliers is the same kind of price ranges for some of the Meister pliers. So they're not selling cheap tools, that's for sure. I can't talk about the longevity and the quality of them until I've used them for a few months, but so far they seem to have held up. These identical set that I've got in the garage, I've used for already for a few things on my bike, my motorcycle, tightening up the motorcycle chain and things like that. You know, they've performed well. I haven't noticed any springing from the jaws, but obviously that's just light use. But if we can take a look at them. What I want to do in a minute for the video, I'll get inside and I'll get some of these spanners, and I'll just get a vernier across the jaws and measure the actual size that the vernier gives us compared to the actual rating, or the size rating of the actual spanner itself. So say this one's a 16. So you know, we'd measure that across and see how close to 16 that is. Some spanners are bang on the money, some are tight, which is what a lot of people like, especially mechanics. They prefer the spanners tighter. Some are a little bit slacker. Obviously the slacker, the easier it is to round the nut. So we'll have a check there. The ring ends, mainly what I've used so far, to be honest with you, on them, and there's no real reason why you would want to use an open end when you've got a ring end, unless it's a 12 point like this and you are scared that it's going to round the nut off. That's a point that I'll make. They are a 12 point ring or box end on there. The finish does seem relatively nice. The ends are polished, as you can see, but the main body of the spanner or wrench is a matte or satin type of finish, which isn't kind of a problem for use, but you know, that is worse when it comes to things like corrosion protection, things like that. They matte satin finishes generally do tend to rust. You'll probably find a few specks of rust will appear over time if you leave them out, probably on the wall in your garage, or like here especially in a shed type workshop with the kind of damp you know, climate or environment. Then over time, but for the price, £7.99, you can't really complain about them being matte, or you can't really complain about the odd speck of rust maybe appearing. You know, they'll still be usable, although it's not nice. Over time, obviously you can get that off with a copper brush, but it might still stain the actual spanner itself. That is something to, when you're buying spanners and it's something's matte, or any other tool that's got a matte finish, it does tend to rust or get a few speckles of rust appear over the years. But for the price, like I said before, £7.99, that's an acceptable trade-off. Now, even though I've got relatively good spanners, and you know, you could say arguably a better well, I don't know, the older set, you know, I think a lot of things these days are the same kind of quality, but they've gotten cheaper, you know, over a decade. So that might be the case here, although I paid you know, 10 times as much for that other set. You don't know, these might be just as good in that space of time. These obviously go up to a 22, and my other set, what this came from, the 21 that this came from, actually goes up to a 24. So you know, that's more comprehensive in that sense of the word. And these start off at a 6, is it? Did we read before? Yeah, it's a 6. Might be hard to focus on that one. There we go, it's a 6. And you can just make out the quality of that smaller wrench spanner or wrench there. Where is the other set I have? Put it in here. You know, they're kind of, this one, this is 6 as well here. Yeah, so it's a 6 again. Yeah, and that's that. So you know, I got a bit more at the top end of the spectrum with my older set, but it's quite a comprehensive set there. You can even make a tune with it. That's how balanced and scaled they are. As wrenches, you know, you don't get none that stick out longer than the others. They're fairly scaled from top to bottom. You know, you could even play a tune. That's how scaled they are. The rack is okay. They're nice and tightly in there. I mean, if you was looking just to buy a rack for you, or for an expensive set of spanners, and you wanted a backup set as well to just stick in a toolbox, you know, you could use the rack for your expensive spanners, I suppose, and put these in your toolbox as a spare. Obviously, it has a front that locks, and it's tight, so you press that down, obviously, and that will lock down all the way down, and it clips down at the bottom as well. And you can unclip that and flip that off. But you can, if you want them just like that, so you can get access to them in a toolbox, you can just pull that. That'll just, if you just stretch the end a little bit, you can just pull that out. It's just on 2 plastic pins there with 2 hot loops with holes in. You can put that, take that in and out, so you can have that like that in a toolbox if you wish. And obviously that just pops back in. Just bend that and it'll pop back in like so. So all in all, for $7.99, obviously if you don't, obviously yeah, some people might not want to have the $7.99 and the front and all that on there, but you know, it is what it is. But I'd say they're worth, when they come back in to your local shop, they're worth picking up for $7.99, even if you're a mechanic and you were looking for a decent quality second set, a spare set to go in your box, you know, or if you're just somebody, the occasional use DIY, you know, a bit of, you know, your tyres punctured or something like that on your bicycle, you just want a set of spanners as or when. This is a fully comprehensive set that, you know, it'll probably last you a lifetime if you're just going to use it for occasional DIY use like that, or a flat pack table or something like that, or furniture you want to put up with them. Then I wouldn't suggest you getting a decent German set of spanners for $7.99 instead of some of these Chinese ones that are made, you know, melted down bottles or pop cans for around the same price. if you got to see them in your local store when you're there, I'd certainly pick a set up. Can't really say more about that really on the pricing. Pricing's very good. I think some stores might still have them in stock. A lot of them are sold online. They said they're in store only, so your local store might still have some. But otherwise you'll have to wait till they come back around. Alright, okay, so I've got the Meister Aldi Workzone combination spanner here. I'm just going to, this is the 22. So what we're going to do is we're just going to check the size. Okay, it's 22.18. That's at the back of the jaw. Get it as straight as possible, obviously. And that's 22.03 at the front of the jaw. So we'll just do the middle of the jaw. .11. So it's tighter at the front of the jaw and ever so slightly bigger at the rear of the jaw. At this point, so there's not too much of a slack on there. This one's the 15. Take a look at the 15. Again, at the back of the jaw, 15.06. Do it at the front of the jaw. .1. Do in the middle of the jaw, best as we can get it. 15.11. Again, so that's pretty consistent really with what we saw with the bigger spanner. We'll just do the 6, the tiny 6. Zero that again. This might be it's harder to get dead straight because of the 6.09. The jaw's that small, I don't think we'll be able to really get one right at the beginning of the jaw, right at the very front. Let's have a look. Yeah. It's 6.07 right at the very front. So again, they're not too bad on that size. I know some of them out there are really quite a lot wider than what they should be, and that can round your nuts and bolts off. We know that. They seem okay enough. So I bought two just as quick grabs to put on the wall in both the garage and in the workshop, so I don't have to keep bending down all the while and getting me other spanners out or carrying them through to the garage all the while. So all in all, I'd say if they come back in again, for the sake of about $7.99, I'd purchase a pair. Even if you're a mechanic and you want a spare set of German made chrome vanadium spanners that meet not only the German VPA but the DIN 3113 specification here in the UK, and you really can't go wrong with that. So that's that on that. Obviously I've got a lot of parcels come today. There's various tools and all that in there, so there'll be a few more reviews, I've no doubt, in the coming days and weeks, for some more tools. Okay, but that's it. I would recommend picking them up, even if they're just as a spare set. You know, there's a lot of spanners in there, even if you just want the rack, and you can just keep the spanners as spare in a toolbox, and you want the rack for you know, some more expensive spanners that you might have in your drawer case or whatever. Then you know, the spare spanners are a bonus. I'd definitely pick them up for the sake of that money, just to chuck in as a spare in your toolbox. So I get a thumbs up from me, these Workzone or Meister Workzone spanners.